unlocked a Roundtable.
Hello and welcome to the Roundtable discussion of Ratchet & Clank. My name is Chris Loban. With me, as always, is Alex.
Hello.
So, this is the second half of our double feature. We watched Ratchet & Clank, and...
like with our reviews, the first section is going to be spoiler-free, and then we're going to, give our final thoughts and wrap up and everything. And after that, we're going to go into the spoiler section, so we get a little more in-depth with the story and the nitty-gritty of it all.
Right. So, that being said, Ratchet & Clank is based on the Sony PlayStation video game, or Sony
IP,
property,
yeah.
IP, yeah. And, kind of, I kind of want to say out of nowhere, in an attempt to relaunch the franchise onto a new generation, perhaps.
Right.
Launches a new game that has been pretty well received.
From what I hear, yeah.
And launch a movie out of nowhere.
Right.
Sony's first attempt at a video game movie. Well,
yeah, I mean, first one that actually followed through. I'm not sure how much the Nathan Drake Uncharted was part of Sony, but...
Yeah, that's more Naughty Dog. I don't know.
Right, I don't know.
Well, maybe, yeah, I don't know. Anyways, Sony heavily has interest in this movie. And we watched it on a Sunday afternoon. Semi-decently sized theater, but not very many people in it.
No, a few kids here and there, but there's probably not much more than a dozen, if that.
Yeah, I wouldn't even say a dozen. I would say definitely less than that. And surprise, because it's open weekend. It's a kids movie, and you would think that people would just be taking their kids to go see kids movies.
Right.
To get them out of the house. And here where it is, it's currently raining outside, so they can't play playing outside.
So it seemed like a good opportune time to take kids to the movie, but...
Surprisingly enough, not very many. And so, I have played not all of the games. I was late to the series. I started playing the Ratchet & Clank series on the PS3, and I didn't play it on the PS2 necessarily. So, when I did start playing it on the PS3, I loved it.
Okay.
I was hooked on the Ratchet & Clank. I could not play enough of it. I maxed out all the weapons. I played way too much of those games because I just had so much fun with them. I thought the humor was great. I thought everything about it, like the gameplay was fun. The weapons are amazing, and I just really enjoyed the series. And I went back and played a little bit of the first game because I bought the collection set or whatever, but I never finished it.
Okay.
I think maybe at that time I kind of I played all the other stuff,
right?
And I never got back into it. But
I think I played one of the earlier ones all the way through, but it was just the one. I can't remember which one it was. It's probably the first one, maybe the second.
Okay. So that kind of gives you the audience background into our experience with Ratchet & Clank a little bit. The series, I guess. But like as far as the movie.
Right. Well, the movie, I think, is like the game, which is kind of a rebooting of the series.
Right.
Where they're kind of starting fresh, but very similar.
Yeah, I mean, the storyline. I'm trying to remember the storylines from the first ones.
Don't ask me. It's a video game storyline. Those are hard to...
But it's kind of like a reboot of the franchise, so to speak. Kind of like what they do in movies very often.
Right.
And...
Ooh, okay. With this movie, I feel like the story beats and the character arcs are very forced and rushed. And I feel like I got that throughout the whole movie, where just things, the way they play out, really don't make much sense, but they're just doing it to kind of drive everything forward.
Yeah, I think that if they would have taken the time a little bit to not necessarily try to stay so true to the game, where anybody who's played video games knows that, like, you'll have a cutscene, action, and that progresses the story. And this just feels like they took a whole bunch of the cutscenes, edited them together, and to just make a full movie.
Yeah.
That's really what just feels like, because as you kind of touched on, I think it happens kind of fast, and maybe those experiences are kind of lost because maybe as you're playing through games and levels and stuff, you kind of bond with these characters a little bit more and get to know their personalities a little bit, or see how they work together better because you're going through levels with them. But then when you cut all that middle section off and you just look at and rely on to the cutscenes, then it becomes that issue where it's just there's a lot of parts where you're right. It just feels like it's just forced and rushed.
Yeah. And I don't really know what... Visually, this is a pretty good movie. I mean, I've seen better looking 3D animated films. There's nothing on this that really stands out, but it's not terrible by any means. It's just kind of there.
Yeah.
Visually.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate. There's a couple scenes that look better than they were noticeably like, oh, that one actually looks really sharp. And then back to kind of just traditional cutscenes. Maybe just because I played Ratchet Clank so much, it didn't really spark anything. I do still need to play the latest game, and I've heard nothing but like how amazing that game looks. So I'm really excited to get to the world, because the world's a great world. You know, there's nothing wrong with the world, and the way that they create everything. The universe is pretty fun and entertaining, and the different alien races are great. It's just something about Captain Quark at this point, playing through so many games. It feels like a stale character, but if it's new to somebody, it might be interesting.
I don't know. Like I said, I played through 1, and I didn't get a lot of Captain Quark, but I just feel like it's a character that we've come across a lot, so it's just still in the sense that it's very, very much an archetype of other characters that you see a lot.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it
I mean, like, the whole conceited superhero thing can only be done so much. We've seen that many times and done a lot better. And I just, because of that, I feel like this misses a lot of the comedy beats that they're trying to hit.
Yeah, which is unfortunate. It doesn't feel like there's anything fresh here. Anybody who's ever watched or or played any of the Ratchet games, there's nothing fresh here. There's nothing interesting about it.
Yeah.
It's solely for people who are new to it. But at the same time, you're trying to cater to the fans, and as a fan, I'm kind of just bored by it.
Right. And like, not even if you play a lot of games, like if you've just seen a lot of animated movies and stuff, they do a lot of the same types of jokes you would see in that. Like, people, groups of minions texting when they aren't supposed to be texting or something like that. It's very derivative humor and doesn't really do anything new or special.
Yeah. Is that like part of what Hollywood finds funny now is trying to put updated jokes in there, like texting or like Instagramming or like social media.
Yeah, it's like, we get it. People are addicted to their phones. I mean, we don't have to put that joke in every fucking movie these days.
That's what it feels like. And then 20 years from now, this is going to feel so dated.
Because, that's what kids are like these days. Generally, they are at their phones, so they'll be watching like, I don't get what's funny about that. That's what I do.
Yeah, like I live on my phone. But yeah, I there's something about the Ratchet and Clank humor that I really always enjoyed. And that's, I think, what always drew me back to the series over and over again. So I thought it was like, it's cleverly written. I think it's entertaining, that I really enjoy playing these games. But now I being away from it for a while, then coming back to it and watching a movie of it like being remade, it feels stale. Like it's not.
Yeah.
It's not on the level of a Pixar movie or a Disney movie.
Nope.
Where You have like heart. You have like a whole bunch of things going on in it where anybody in an audience can appreciate.
Mm-hmm.
A kid, an adult, anybody like, oh man, I got that reference, or like
right.
stuff like that, and it just feels like a very hollow cartoon.
It's very paint by numbers cartoon.
Yeah, there's nothing really here that makes me say go out and see this movie immediately.
No, I don't think there's anything here that makes me say go out and see this movie at all, honestly.
Right. That's the unfortunate aspect of it too, because I agree, and it sucks that I agree, but it's true. There's just it's kind of forgettable.
It's very forgettable.
And what else do you want to say about it? Like story wise? It's very traditional. I want to say Star Wars-esque.
A
little bit. Like you have the farm boy, or like turns into a hero.
Right.
It's. I'm not saying it's the exact plot of Star Wars by any means, but you always have these archetypes of like hero characters.
Right. So the general tropes that you come to expect.
Yeah, so you see all these different tropes in this movie, so there's nothing fresh, there's nothing exciting, and it's just like, all right, well.
I just feel like they tried to hit these beats that you felt that they were building up to, but there's so many of them that they try to fit, and they spend so little time trying to flesh it out that when it finally lands, it's just like, it just kind of fizzles out into like, oh, okay, I guess that's a callback to this part, but that's about it.
Yeah, and you're right. They really suffer from trying to develop these characters. And they should develop these characters and made it into like an interesting franchise, because they could have.
Mm-hmm.
They had the opportunity, but instead they kind of rehashed all the cutscenes and kind of just updated everything from that regard.
Right. Like they try to flesh them out, they just don't do a good job of it, so the payoff isn't there.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. So overall, like, how do you feel?
Like I said, you could just skip this movie overall. There's not much here. I'd say, if you're a fan of the game series, just stick to the games.
Yeah, honestly, I would play this game, because the game is probably going to be a lot more enjoyable than sitting there watching this movie. And I'm looking forward to playing the game still, because I love the gameplay. Like I said, I love the weapons and everything about the universe. So I really am looking forward to it, despite the movie. I wish I was saying like this was such a great addition or something that's added to my experience of the Ratchet Clank series, but it just wasn't.
Yeah, you know what? Let's touch on that. This is a series. The game series is known for all the bizarre and strange weapons that you got to utilize. And those weapons are severely underutilized in this. You see each weapon maybe once, but it doesn't really come to much of an advantage. Most of the time you just watch them use the regular blaster, which is, when you have these swarms of bad guys coming towards you, you want them to use some of the cool weapons, which you don't. It's just boring shooting.
Yeah.
So it really doesn't even live up to the property that they're trying to emulate.
And all of a sudden he has his Omni wrench at the bottom.
Right. It's like that was not set up at all.
Yeah, so that didn't make very much sense, but you're right. I think they don't utilize the weapons. You get a quick glimpse of them in like a training montage.
Right, and that's when I ran to the bathroom, because at this point I kind of knew what to expect. I'm like, this is going to be a training montage. You're going to see the cool weapons.
Mm-hmm.
And being somewhat familiar with the series, I know what to see.
Right. I mean, there was an appearance of Mr. Zircon, which is one of my favorite characters in the Ratchet Clank series. I don't want to say underutilized, but I mean, I don't know. I don't even know where I'm going with that. It's unfortunate to see this movie and not be excited about it like I once was, I guess.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if I was ever really excited about it, but, at least they gave it a try, I guess.
Yeah, I think that this is going to majorly hurt any ideas for them trying to not necessarily make a franchise just out of Ratchet Clank, but any future games or anything like that.
I don't think they're going to remake their money on this.
Yeah, I don't either. I mean, we'll see. I'm interested to see the numbers for this weekend and seeing Keanu's numbers and seeing Ratchet and Clank's, because Civil War opens this week, and these movies are going to be so forgotten.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I feel like Keanu's going to win this week just because I've been, just on my social media feed, I've been seeing quite a few people check in to see it.
Okay.
But, yeah, it's going to win this weekend, but I don't think it's going to make great numbers.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see where this falls in line with everything that's out right now, like Jungle Book and other movies. I'm trying to think of what other movies.
Kids movies. Yeah, I don't really think there's anything out there.
I wonder how much The Huntsman did too.
Not good. Probably not good.
Yeah, so very curious in those numbers, because everybody knew that Civil War was coming out, and in the weeks right before it, they were trying to get some quick cash grabs and then just let Civil War dominate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so this was like between the big blockbusters of Batman v Superman, or what should have been the big blockbuster of Batman v Superman, and Civil War. However, now you throw in the mix the big blockbuster of Purple Rain.
Oh my god, that's crazy! How many people have been watching that, right?
Yeah, it is crazy, because I remember I think I IM'd you or something, but I'm like, hey, they're showing a couple of showings of Purple Rain on Tuesday and Thursday, just to commemorate
the passing of Prince, yeah.
Right. And then all of a sudden, like, those tickets got sold out. So then they're like, oh, we're just playing Purple Rain all the time now.
Yeah.
And there, so many friends have seen it. I was at a restaurant last night, and the people behind me talked about seeing it twice.
That's insane to me.
And it's crazy to the point of, like, this movie's going to make more money than a lot of these movies that are out right now.
Right. I mean, it's been, over a week since Prince passed, and this movie's still being shown.
Repeatedly. Yeah. It's not just like once a day showing.
And the theaters have been filling up pretty well from what we saw.
Yeah, it's surprising. Will this movie make the same amount of money that it made in its theatrical release in the 80s?
That'd be interesting.
I mean, obviously, maybe not, if they adjusted 80s numbers to today's current number, but like just from a...
Not the same amount of ticket sales, but gross income.
Yeah.
Will it reach with the inflation of all the prices?
I'd be curious to see that, and I'm actually interested in watching. I'm more interested in that as opposed to looking or ever watching Ratchet and Clank again. But yeah, weird time. Definitely a weird time in our movie watching experiences.
Yeah.
But
weird tangent, also.
Yeah. But yeah, okay, so we got sidetracked.
Yeah, skip this movie.
Yeah, skip this movie. I don't even know if you should even do a spoiler section, to be honest with you, because there's nothing there. Like, if you play the games, you know what's happening in this movie. There's nothing new there.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing exciting that we can kind of go into a little bit further.
It just all boils down to everything feeling forced. And
yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Right. So I guess no spoiler section. Sorry, guys. I guess.
Yeah, you'll thank us, because there's nothing there to really get into or dive into. But so, Alex, how can I reach you?
You can follow me on Twitter. My name there is Alex Sandberg. It's AlexSanberg, or email me directly at the website alex@lostlevel.com. Chris?
I'm on twitter.com/calmintensity. Lost Level has a Twitter as well. It's at the Lost Level. We are on Facebook, just Lost Level there, and we have a website. Website is lostlevel.com. In the upper right hand corner of that, you can get all of these sweet social media links, as well as one for our YouTube page, which we're really trying to promote. So take a moment, like us on there. We'd really appreciate it. Or subscribe to us on there. Doing some stuff there, doing some unboxings, and putting all these videos up there in podcast form so you guys can check that out while you're at work. So we'd appreciate it.
Yeah.
Until next time, until Civil War.
Oh yeah, that's going to be good.
That is going to be a fun one to talk about.
Yes, I'm excited.
So yeah, we'll be talking to you guys soon.
Bye.